Welcome everybody, so I am back and I'm going to bring you guys a brand new YouTube video. So this is going to be a review for Star Wars Rogue One. So if you see a picture of Star Wars Rogue One in the background there, that is why we are reviewing this movie. This movie is one of my favorites within the new Star Wars trilogy. I like The Force Awakens and I also liked Rogue One, so let's get into this. Basically this movie is about the infamous Death Star plans, and that is retrieving the Death Star plans from the Empire so that they can figure out a way to defeat them. They later learn through Jyn Erso, who's this Rebel Alliance officer who originally is someone that's fighting kind of like a smuggler, kind of like Han Solo, against the Rebel Alliance as well as the Empire. She later joins them reluctantly and learns to fight with the Rebel Alliance. And apparently her father has the plans to the Death Star, where apparently her father, Galen Erso, managed to sneak a little defect within the Death Star, which allowed Luke Skywalker to shoot bolts in New Hope, which later destroyed the Death Star in that movie. And this is before that movie, so if you're thinking this is going to be in relationship to the old movies, it is, but it isn't. It's kind of a prequel movie, and I really like some of the things in this. I like the fact that they went to sort of different environments and different planets. I like the one that had like all those mountainous terrain and stuff, and it was kind of hard to land because a rainstorm that was kind of, as well as wind and everything, and they're going through treacherous terrain, and that caused problems for the ship as well as the mountains, kind of trying to maneuver through that, which is where they eventually meet Galen Erso. It was really cool seeing some classic characters in the film, such as Darth Vader. Darth Vader has a little bit of a presence. He's not in the movie, completely. I know the trailers kind of made it out to where Darth Vader had a much larger role within the story than he did. That was all the marketing team's problem. I'd have to say that even with those tiny bits that we do get with Darth Vader, James Earl Jones does a really good job with the Darth Vader voice, even though you can kind of tell that he's a little bit older and probably can't do the voice as well as you probably could, during A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Those were pretty much his golden years. He's getting to that age where, you can kind of tell his old grittiness, which I think for the Rogue One movie, since it is a prequel, it kind of helps a little bit with what happened in Revenge of the Sith, considering the fact that, he had to get a respiratory system in order to breathe, so you can kind of get away with, maybe, it has something to do with the suit, that maybe the suit wasn't finished or whatnot. You could do an entire video of pretty much why, Darth Vader doesn't sound like he does, in Rogue One as compared to the other movies. But that's beside the point. It's cool seeing the new vehicles, the new spaceships and stuff, like the U-Wings, X-Wings are back, the TIE Fighters are back. You see new kind of versions of the TIE Fighters and stuff within this film, which is pretty cool. I like when, Star Wars goes and does different things with each of these movies. The one thing that I thought was weird, they capture one of the Rebel pilots, and basically they drag him to this underground bunker where Saw Gerrera captures people, and he kind of places them in kind of a cargo hold. Basically, he has this tentacle monster thing come, and this tentacle monster can kind of see into your past and whether or not you're telling the truth and stuff. And that was a really unnecessary scene. I was even watching that in the theaters and I was like, guys, come on, why is this even the movie? But I guess in Return of the Jedi there was a tentacle monster with the Sarlacc pit creature, but still it's like, this is supposed to be a kids/adult movie, and you're putting things like this in the film. Isn't that going to kind of turn some people off a little bit? But other than that out of place kind of scene, the movie follows a pretty much straightforward plot. The end battle sequence with all the starships and stuff, and it goes from, being a land sort of battle to a spaceship where you see sort of the crashing into each other because they get another ship to ram and push it towards the other one. And that was pretty cool to see. I like some of the battles on the island planet, when they're kind of fighting. And I forget what the name of the planet is, but it was kind of cool to see that battle take place. There's some stuff that was cut, obviously, from the film, especially with the trailer. And I was going to do a reaction video to that at the time, but I just didn't have the energy or the luxury of what I have now with my green screen to be able to do that. But some of those scenes were cut out, and I really wish that we got some sort of like a deleted scene portion to the film where we got to see more of that footage. But sadly, we weren't able to see that. Some of that stuff, I heard that Gareth Edwards kind of took some of this movie towards the latter half and kind of reshot everything so that it would fit with the ending, where pretty much the entirety of the ending is that they find the Death Star plans, they beam it up to the other ships. The other ships kind of beam themselves out of there, going into warp speed, and eventually get the Death Star plans. Darth Vader, meanwhile, reprises his role at the end and gets a really cool, badass scene where he's just taking out people with his red lightsaber and stuff. And it's kind of like filmed like a horror movie, so it's kind of like a Jason Voorhees slasher flick mixed with Star Wars, which is pretty cool. And there's footage of it all over the internet, so I'm not going to put it on my review. But if you go online and type in, Darth Vader Rogue One scene, you'll be able to find it. That was pretty cool. And then at the end of the film, all the characters, pretty much spoiler alert. So if you're going to watch this movie, don't watch this part. They all die. It's kind of sad because it's like, well, some of these characters you kind of grow to like, one of which was Donnie Yen, which I didn't really know what to expect from Donnie Yen's character. But apparently he created a new fight move for Star Wars during the whole beginning battle with the stormtroopers on that desert planet when they're going through the city and the stormtroopers are pretty much taking over. That was pretty cool. I liked seeing the tanks kind of rolling in and people going like, oh shit, like what are we gonna do? That was pretty sweet. This movie kind of hits the realism of the Star Wars universe and kind of puts these characters in a realistic environment. And the lack of lightsabers doesn't affect me much with this movie. I wish we would have gotten more lightsabers within this film, but you know, I'm not complaining. I did like Jen Erso's character, even though when I first saw the trailers, I was kind of iffy of whether or not Felicity Jones is actually going to do a good job with this film. And she actually does a really good job of playing her character. She's kind of doesn't know what she wants to fight for. If she really wants to fight for the rebels or, you know, go her own way, which is what she was kind of doing most of her life. Pretty much everybody's kind of abandoned her, including Saw Gerrera, as well as her father. Her father was taken by the Empire to work on the Death Star. You later learn why through the middle of the film, but I'm not going to spoil that for you guys here. So watch the movie for that. It's on Netflix, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. But there's a lot of cool stuff within this film. I like the Death Trooper designs. I think those things are pretty sweet. They're sort of like a special forces unit, and they're kind of all clad in black and stuff, and they've got those kind of rebreathers kind of coming out of their helmets and stuff, and I thought that was pretty sweet. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in Star Wars Rogue One. I'd have to say that if you're going to look for a movie that is Star Wars related, that is some of the newer films in the franchise, definitely go with Rogue One. The Last Jedi is not good. Everybody pretty much knows this at this point. Maybe I'll go back, and my opinions of that movie have changed from the 3 times that I saw that compared to the first time I saw it and made that review. So hope you guys like this review, and as always guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Persh.